Welcome to the Fatu Network News Review today, 22nd of May 2019. My name is Omar Wali. The First Lady Fatouba Barrow donated food items to Islamic schools in the country, and the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Ami Bojan Sissoho, said President Barrow is aware of the caste system in the country. And the OIC National Secretariat on Wednesday held a press briefing to disclose the status of its work and constraints. But before that, we will start with the papers, and the Standard is reporting that Jammeh, angry at Kanilai shooting, urges calm. The Standard newspaper said former President Yahya Jammeh has called for calm in the aftermath of the shooting of Ismaila Tamba in Kanilai. In an audio shared on a WhatsApp platform, Jammeh said he knows the problems in Kanilai and he is angry about he's angry about it more than anyone. This is the second fatal or near fatal shooting involving a native of Kanilai since the regime change in 2016. Following a protest in 2017, economic forces shot and killed one Haruna Jatta. No report of investigation into the issue has so far been published. Tamba, a former soldier, now a Gelegele driver, was shot by a bullet after a soldier fired a gun at his passenger bus for supposedly failing to stop. The former president himself, a native of Kanilai village, speaking from his exiled home in Equatorial Guinea, said only Allah knows why things happen. And if the natives of Kanilai are angry, he, Jammeh, is more angrier than them because he knew what is going on. It is just a matter of time, but I am appealing to them not to take law into their own hands and see what is going to happen. I want them to leave everything in my hands. I will solve the problem. He spoke in English while the National Assembly member for Foni Councillor Musa Amul Nyasi relayed his message to the villagers in the Jola language. And General warns against politicizing the military. The Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Major General Yakubu Drame, has warned against politicizing of the military by soldiers, urging men and women in uniform to stay away from politics and allow politicians to determine what is good for the country. Speaking at the decoration of 33 non-commissioned officers elevated to various ranks up to the warrant officer at the Army headquarters in Banjul yesterday, Drame said absolute and total loyalty to the state and the constitution is required from all military in discharge of their duties and functions, and that the politics is not part of their role. And the government explains OIC summit deferral. The government of the Gambia yesterday issued a statement issuing why it has decided to defer the hosting of 2019 OIC summit in the Gambia to 2022. A statement read, the decision followed a series of high-level consultations held with other African countries on the limited time unavailable to have the needed infrastructure for the successful hosting of the 2019 OIC summit. The government, in preparation for the summit, established a national OIC secretariat in February 2018 to oversee a successful organization and the hosting of this summit. The secretariat has also been given mandate to mobilize resources required to enable the Gambia to host a summit successfully. And they also said that already it has secured funding from the following projects, and the implementation of which will start soon. Construction of a dual carriage from Yundum via Battle Hardin Highway to Sitting Corner. A construction of 400 rooms, a 5-star hotel, and 60 luxurious suites. A construction of VIP lounge at Banjul International Airport. Enhanced water production and transmission and distribution. Enhanced power transmission and distribution network. And given this huge task against the limited time factor, it became apparent that the country's ability to hold the summit this year seems distant. The government thus opted to seek the deferment of its hosting of the summit to the year 2022, when the next OIC summit is scheduled to take place. That is the statement from the government of the Gambia explaining why they defer 2019 OIC summit. And the prosecution closed its case in the trial of 9 NIA officers. The state prosecution in the criminal trial involving the 9 NIA yesterday closed their case, and the defense has been given a week to file their motion. when the case was called before Justice Kumbasila Kamara of the High Court in Banjul. Lawyer Antuman Gay, the lead state counsel, announced that they will be closing their case. Ichime, the defense counsel for the first accused person, Yankuba Baji, informed the court that he will also be filing no case submission, and asked the court to grant him a week or two to do so. The judge gave him a week, and it took the prosecution team 2 years to call 35 prosecution witnesses in this trial. The accused persons, Yankuba Baji, former head of the National Intelligence Agency, Sheikh Omar Jeng, former director of operations at the NIA, Babukar Sala, Haruna Suso, Tamba Masire, Lamin Dabo, and Lamin Langsanyang, and one of the accused, Liz Gomez, a former deputy director of NIA, died in the course of the trial. Another accused, Yusufa Jame, was discharged by the court at the request of the state. The Somali national convicted for destroying NAWEC properties, the magistrate court in Brikama yesterday sentenced Etia Bafuna, a Somali national, after finding him guilty of damaging NAWEC electric cables and water pipes in Brikama in the West Coast region. Delivering the judgment, Magistrate Aisatunjai said, prosecution has proven their case beyond reasonable doubts, and she found him to fines of $2,000, $10,000 and $2,000 in default to serve 6 months, 12 months, and 6 months in prison to run concurrently. The police prosecutor Sergeant Bobo Jaju stated that on the 6th of November last year, Mr. Bafuno unlawfully entered NAWEC premises in Brikama and damaged electric cables valued at $1,375 and cut pipes resulting to NAWEC West value at $13,375. He also stated that the Somalis stole NAWEC electric cables of the same value. That is on the standard, and the point is also reporting that Jammeh Kanilai sued in Jammeh vowed to solve the issue. They also reporting that President Barrow welcomes a new disaster alert system in the Gambia, and the defense filed no case submission in Yankuba Baji and the court trial. And APRC leader reacts to Kanilai shooting. For Bakari Tombonjada, leader of the opposition Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction, has urged the communities of Kanilai in Foni Kansala to maintain peace after an incident that led to the shooting of one Ismaila Tamba. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the papers. We'll now look at the other stories. The First Lady Fatoumata Barrow has donated food items to Islamic schools in the country. The donation was done through a foundation, the Fatoumata Barrow Foundation, at a ceremony held at the State House on Tuesday. Jaka Sisejade was at the ceremony, and she came through with this report.
5 Quranic memorization schools from 4 regions of the country on Tuesday received donations of various items from the First Lady's Foundation. The largest include 50 bags of rice and sugar, 10 gallons of 20-liter oil, and 10 cartons of dates. Speaking at a ceremony held at the State House in Banjul to present the donated items, Mr. Lamin Yabo of the First Lady's Foundation highlighted that this latest donation was the first of its kind, in that it came in a bigger, better package. He expressed the Foundation's resolve to continue reaching out to those in need.
It's a very, very important event in the milestone or the history of the Foundation. This is not the first time Her Excellency is rendering magnificent gestures to Gambians or needy Gambians. For the past Ramadan, we have been doing the same thing. In that one, it was not a presentation like this, but Her Excellency took up herself as a challenge and went to visit Quranic memorization institution one by one, of which a similar gift of this nature was presented to the beneficiaries. 2019, we decided to invite the governors to do the presentations at their various regions on behalf of Her Excellency, the First Lady.
The governors of North Bank Region, Central River Region, and Lower River Region were all in attendance to receive the items on behalf of the beneficiaries.
This is a great gesture, and it's even in the Hadiths and the Quran stated that one has to be very caring and very giving. Allah states that as a pillar of humanity, particularly during this month, which is one of the noble months in the year. Our First Lady standing in the sun with us to make this presentation to the vulnerable people within the society. We are all going to make sure it gets to the beneficiaries directly. From here, we can assure you that nothing is going to be left behind. Everything will be given to the people who really need it. On that note, I take this opportunity once again to thank you so much on behalf of the people of CRR and the direct beneficiaries of these Quranic schools. Thank you.
We are very grateful. The Gambian people are grateful. For this particular one, this is the first time we are benefiting from this gesture. I understand reliably that last year it was West Coast who benefited, and this year it's the rest of mankind. And this is an opportunity for us to thank the very First Lady for this very, very important humanitarian gesture.
Today we are here receiving gift for the madrasas. And I know this gift we are receiving today will go a long way to complement the feeding effort of these madrasas. We don't have anything today to say but to thank you, High Excellency, and your foundation. And we will continue to pray for you and to pray for whoever is behind this power to continue to be powerful so that you will continue to have the efficiency and the effort and the energy and the resources to help the needy of this country.
Upper River Region Governor was represented by her deputy. Reporting for the Fatu Network, I am Jakasi Sijete.
TAF Africa Global is pleased to launch Dalaba Housing Estate. Dalaba Housing Estate is our newest estate located on the Sukuta Jabang Road. You can buy a finished 2 or 3 bedroom house or service plots accompanied with a free fence and gate.
Now, the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Ami Bojan Sissoho, has said President Barrow is aware of the caste problems that have rocked a number of communities in the Upper River region. Bojan Sissoho spoke to journalists on this issue. The President's position on the coalition MOU as well as the recent protest by Operation 3 Years Jotna at a press conference on Wednesday. More in this report.
On the issue of caste, the caste system, as we all know, is a traditional practice more than anything. And I know that the President has been involved in the discussions that he has been briefed on to advise the communities, especially using our traditional means of communication, to reach out to the way we do problem solving by resolving to communal discussions and using the elders of the communities to settle the disputes between the communities. So far, I know that has been going on, and the President has been informed about the efforts being done, especially in the URR, where these issues are taking place to be able to resolve these problems through communal approaches to problem solving, especially resolutions of conflicts relating to tradition and culture. As far as I know, and I think this has been discussed in the media before, the President acknowledges that there was an MOU that was not signed, but it was campaigned under the issue of 3 years. But apart from the period of the governance, it has indicated a lot of other areas of governance relating to the commissions we are talking about right now, if you are following what is going on, to make sure that there is institutional reforms, security sector reforms. All these are part of what the MOU wanted. The spirit is to ensure that in the governance of the transition period, we have institutional reforms. We have the issues of the commissions that will make sure that we have accountable and transparent institutions, as well as reforming the security sector. And this is why you have all these commissions coming up, to ensure that the desire for the people will be maintained. And this is the position of the President, to ensure that what we have aimed for the change to take place, let us work hard to achieve it. So the issue of the what do you call it?
anti-Barrow protest?
Anti-Barrow. Okay. I'm not sure about any anti-Barrow, I would call a protest that I have been aware of. So if there is anything called anti-Barrow protest, I'm not aware of it.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
That was the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President there, Ami Bojang Sissoho. The OIC National Secretariat on Wednesday held a press briefing to disclose the status of its work and constraints. Wednesday press briefing comes and as OIC Secretariat continues to be under fire in following a news that the Gambia was no longer going to host this year's OIC summit. Here is an excerpt from that press conference.
I will first and foremost reiterate to the general public and the media practitioners here present today the role of this secretariat as prescribed by statute, which means the legal entity. The secretariat was established by the government of the Gambia to mobilize resources from the OIC member countries and other friends of the Gambia to execute public infrastructure projects in preparation to a successful hosting of the 14th Head of States Summit. The Secretariat's resource mobilization drive is on course. And at this press briefing, we will highlight our initiatives and the tangibles attained in the furtherance of a successful summit to be hosted in the Gambia. The objective of the Secretariat is to boost the Gambia's public infrastructure portfolio by using the summit as an anchor to national development. Equally, hosting of the summit gives us an opportunity to rebrand and reposition the Gambia as a conference destination in the sub-region. The construction of a new conference center and the rehabilitation of the airport, which is the Banjul Airport, positions the Gambia to be a premier meeting and international conference events destination, MICE. This will diversify our existing tourism product, which relies on seasonal tourist visits. Capacity building. In our drive to achieve the above, the Secretariat embarked on the following. First, security training. The Turkish government has been instrumental in training most of the Gambian security personnel over the last few months. A total of 1,200 personnel were trained both in the Gambia and in Turkey on relevant subject matter associated with maintaining peace and security for the summit. On behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia OIC Secretariat wishes to extend its gratitude to the government of Turkey for its benevolence in assisting the Gambia. The following training programs were executed both locally and internationally. Protocol training. A total of 110 participants had 2 different protocol training sessions sponsored by the government of Turkey and the government of Indonesia in the Gambia. On resource mobilization, the operational budget of the Gambia OIC Secretariat is fully funded by the following member countries: the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the government of Kazakhstan, the government of Azerbaijan, and the Islamic Development Bank in Saudi Arabia. On the project financing, with regards to the status of the funding, we are pleased to inform you that draft MOUs between the government of the Gambia and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia under the umbrella of the Saudi Fund have been nearly completed, The Saudi fund will support in the implementation of the following projects. 1, 100-kilometer road, which includes the dual carriage from the airport Johnson to Stinkona. The new VIP lounge we're going to build at the airport, Banjul International Airport. Enhanced water production, transmission, and distribution of electricity within the Greater Banjul area vis-a-vis the OIC concentrated areas. However, separate negotiations continue with the Saudi Investment Authority for the funding of the 5-star hotel. Furthermore, we're expecting additional support from the following countries, member countries: the Kingdom of Morocco, the government of Turkey, the government of the Sultanate of Brunei, Qatar, Indonesia, Malaysia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, South Korea, which is not a member country, and Ivory Coast. On the project updates, valuation of the properties along the 22-kilometer road in relation to the expansion of the Airport Johnson-Stinkona Road. The Road Reserve Committee, a multi-sectorial committee, observed that some properties have encroached into the 40-meter road reserve buffer along the Airport Johnson traffic lights. As a result, the Gambia OIC Secretariat sponsored a property assessment exercise conducted by the Department of Physical Planning and Lands and Surveys. A preliminary report was submitted to the authorities for review and for further action. The OIC Secretariat requested for expression of interest from potential consultancy service providers for all the priority projects. The requests were open to all interested, both internationally and locally. The evaluation of the bids were undertaken by an independent multi-sectorial committee whose report is being considered by the OIC Secretariat and the Saudi Fund. The Secretariat has also finalized the pre-qualification process for the contractors for the following projects: the 22-kilometer road expansion, which is the dual carriage from the Airport Johnson to Stinkona, the 50-kilometer road secondary roads around the OIC concentrated area, the 400-bedroom 5-star hotel, and the new VIP lounge to be built at the Banjul International Airport. Water and electricity enhancement project. The advertisement for the pre-qualification of the contractors for the water and electricity projects are currently in progress. The deadline for submission is the 17th of June, 2019. As part of the preparatory work of the Secretariat, a local organizing committee, LOC, has been set up, consisting of the following subcommittees: 1, transport; 2, logistic; 3, security; 4, protocol; 5, accommodation; 6, documentation; 7, events; 8, media and publicity. So far, 2 study visits have been undertaken by members of the LOC to Turkey and UAE to attend OIC summits to understudy how these summits are conducted. In conclusion, the change of date is not new within the OIC history. The first summit of the OIC was held in 1969 in Rabat in Morocco. The second was held in Lahore, Pakistan. Instead of 1972, it was held in 1974. So that was a 2 years delay. The third summit was held in Makkah in 1981 instead of 1975, which means another 6 years delay. The sixth summit was held in Dakar, our neighbors in Senegal, in 1991 instead of 1990. The 11th summit was held in Dakar again instead of 2006, but in 2008. The 12th summit was held in Cairo, Egypt, in 2013 instead of 2011. Finally, the Gambia OIC Secretariat wishes to reiterate its commitment in transforming the public infrastructure portfolio of the Gambia. Thank you very much for your attention.
That was Lamin J. Sanidea, the Chief Executive Officer of OIC Gambia Secretariat, talking to journalists there. They held a press conference today to disclose the status of its work and constraints. As you may know, Gambia will no longer host this year's OIC summit until 2022. Saudi Arabia will take host of this event that will enable Gambia to prepare for the next summit. And we will be talking to Coach Basamba Jao, and remarks made by Jammeh saying that he will solve this problem. In the incident in Kanilai, as you know, a former Lance Corporal was shot at a military checkpoint on Sunday evening, and he was rushed to Biam Hospital and later taken to Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital in Banjul. But we received report and information that the former army officer is recovering from the injuries. And but we'll shed more light on this, because the former president told his villagers that they should not take law into their own hands. And I will now move on to talk to Coach Basamba Jao. Hello, Coach. Well, I think we are still having some technical problems, but just to remind you of our stories today, the First Lady Fatouba Barrow donated food items to Islamic schools in the country. The donation was done through her foundation, the Fatoumata Barrow Foundation, at a ceremony held at State House on Tuesday. And the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Ami Bojang Sissoho, has said that President Adama Barrow is aware of the caste problem that have rocked a number of communities in the Upper River region. Bojang Sissoho also spoke to journalists on this issue, the President's position on the coalition MOU, as well as the recent protests by Operation 3S Jotna. This was held at a State House today. And the OIC National Secretariat also held a press conference to brief journalists about the OIC. But hello, Coach.
Hello, Omar.
Yes, welcome to the Fatu Network.
Thank you, sir.
Well, how is Ramadan?
Well, we're managing.
Okay, right. I'm sure you heard what Jammeh said. He said he's angry at the Kanilai shooting and he urged calm. But he also said he will provide solution to this problem. What do you make of this?
Well, I must first, wish Mr. Tamba a speedy recovery, and I again condemn his shooting, because I am of the view that deadly force should not be used by security officers just because they refuse to stop at a checkpoint. I am opposed to any form of police brutality, whether in the United States or in the Gambia, and do not see any need for it. Now, coming to Jammeh, I think it was comical that Yahya Jammeh, whose legacy it is having checkpoints all over the country, where our soldiers or security forces were instructed to shoot first, ask questions later, would come and now be angry that somebody was shot in the Gambia, when this man's history has been one of brutal killings of innocent Gambians. Isn't it ironic that it was only in 2015 when Yabinta Jaju was shot by security because the taxi that she rode in did not stop at a checkpoint. So I find it real comical that it is coming from Jammeh, and the height of hypocrisy, definitely, for Jammeh to be all of a sudden the champion of people's fundamental rights and freedoms.
Okay, before you respond to that, but you said you condemn the shooting. Nobody supports the shooting, whatever. But should people also not respect security protocols, whether here or any part of the world? Because these are also people who have been assigned to maintain law and order or to protect the country.
Well, of course, people have to respect the law and those who are entrusted with enforcing the law. But I don't believe that just by the mere fact that somebody refused to yield or stop at a checkpoint, whether deliberately or otherwise, because we do not know all the facts, that police officer or the security or the soldier would fire into that vehicle. Because if you look at the pictures that I saw, the guy was shot from the back, meaning that the bullet penetrated from behind the vehicle to where the driver was sitting, meaning that if there were any passengers in that car, they would have been killed. So I don't believe that it is worth the life of a Gambian, of a human being, just because one did not stop at a checkpoint. The police officer could have shot the tire. That's why I find it really interesting that the army is trying to suggest that the guy aimed at the tire but shot the guy. That means that definitely our soldiers need to be trained a lot more. So I really reject that notion that just because of security personnel should be respected, that maybe that is an excuse. This is the problem that I have even here in the United States. I've been to numerous protests against incidents like this, and to me, there is always no justification where the soldiers can just shoot somebody because the person did not stop at a checkpoint. And I don't think there was any imminent danger to the people of that country or anybody else to warrant such a response.
The first incident involved Haruna Jatta. When those people took to the streets or Kanilai, they were protesting. They said they don't want economic forces there. But another argument was, it is Jammeh who put a garrison in Kanilai, and they never protested against that garrison. But when these foreign forces came, they were protesting against that one.
Well, you see, even if that argument were to be true, that should not also diminish this problem. Of course, Jammeh was there. That was a dictatorship. That was why we had checkpoints all over the place. And we know that most Gambians were frustrated by these checkpoints. So we have a new dispensation that is supposed to be democratic, that is supposed to have a new beginning. I understand the security implications, but I don't think that is a justification to just excuse this act or to dismiss those that are condemning it. I am of the view that if you had a problem with the shooting of Binta Jaju, you should definitely have a problem with the shooting of Mr. Ismaila Tamba.
Your critics said you people only condemn when situations like this. You always condemn the security, but you don't provide solutions. Well, if you condemn the shooting, you should also at least a word of caution, advice to the people, and tell them next time when you go out, at least when you give as a matter of courtesy, you stop at checkpoint, but you will only stop at condemning and not to forget about the other end.
Well, let's look at which action is more consequential. The guy who purportedly does not respect the law, or the security forces, or the security force that decided to discharge his weapon at somebody. So this is the issue. Now, I am not an anarchist. I believe that people must respect the law, but I also expect the law enforcement officers to exercise restraint, especially in dealing with the citizens. So this is the thing. So of course, the first condemnation here is you look at the bigger problem here, and the bigger problem is the person that has been shot. So we have to deal with that, and this is where we believe, Omar, that this government should have focused on security reforms, and through these security reforms, our military, our security personnel would have been taught to respect fundamental rights and freedom, to be a lot more restrained than they have been. And I think the security forces have been failed too by this government, in that it has not put in place the proper reforms that would have enabled them to be able to engage, deal with situations like this. So yes, the condemnation is not because we do not like the security forces, it's because of the consequences of their actions.
But do you think this is a problem of security reform or failure of security, or it's more than that? Because the incident happened in Kanilai in 2017, this is in Fonyi, and this one also happened in Fonyi, not any other part of the country. This is where the security and people have a confrontation. Do you think this is a security problem, or is beyond that?
I don't want to take it to be beyond security problem. I think, of course, it happened in Kanilai, and this is the second time, but let's also remember that it also happened in Faraba. Kanilai, the first one was a protest that ended up protest / some people call it riot, some people call it protest / and then that happened. This time somebody did not stop at a checkpoint, it happened. But Faraba, a similar thing happened there. So that's why I'm saying that, and we saw, you can draw parallels between what happened to Yabinta and what happened to Ismaila.
Yeah.
So this is why I believe that the issue to me is more of security being trained to be restrained than anything else. I don't think there is a concerted effort by the Adama Barrow government. You know that I'm not a big fan of the Adama Barrow government, but I don't think they have a concerted effort where they say, okay, go to what you might call it, Kanilai, and try to shoot somebody. I don't think that is the case here. I don't think that is in their interest, and I don't think that is the image that they want to sell to the world. But I believe that maybe if they had focused on the necessary reforms, we would be somewhere else that we are not today.
Now, taking back to the whole idea, Jammeh said he will solve the problem. Do you think Jammeh will be able to solve this problem?
Jammeh cannot solve anything. But again, I think that's the joke of the century, but the joke is on us. And this is where, again, I believe that if Mr. Barrow, President Barrow and his government had focused on trying to at least expose Jammeh for the criminal that he was, maybe he would not be this comfortable now. But what do we see? We see President Barrow and most of these politicians, not only him, but most of the other politicians are busy trying to curry favors, trying to hobnob with these people who were with Jammeh. I just saw your interview with my party the other day, and where he was talking about this great relationship that he has with Fabakary Tombong Jatta, because this guy supposedly says nice things about him. I'm like, okay, on the one hand, you are here attacking Almami Tal for being a political ignoramus, somebody who was not here to fight during the dictatorship. But on the other hand, you have no problem being very happy about Fabakary Tombong Jatta just because he said something nice about you. So I believe that unless we put our priorities straight, Jammeh would continue to be emboldened, and we'll continue to get messages like this. But I don't believe that Jammeh can solve anything.
So what is Jammeh trying to do then? Is he trying to...
Well, Jammeh is just pandering. This is political pandering. You know, Jammeh has this thing. He likes to mystify himself to be more than what he is. So for him, he would continue to talk about, you know what, I am still the guy. Okay, leave it in my hands. This is Jammeh. I'm still powerful. I can solve stuff. Don't do anything. I can take care of it. Jammeh cannot take care of anything. But again, who can blame him?
You condemn Jammeh's reaction. Madi Jobate also condemned Jammeh's reaction, saying that he's angry and so on. But this is a man who is loved and adored by thousands of people, not only in Fonyi, but in certain parts of the country, and they listen to him. Don't you think Jammeh coming forward and telling his people, don't take law into your own hands, is also good for the country's security?
Well, you know what? Great. But I wish that he understood what law was and the need to respect the laws when he was totally abrogating the laws of the Gambia for 22 years, which has now led to people being dug from graves, shallow graves, and all that. So to me, Jammeh is the last person that I would... And Omar, I am of the belief that Jammeh is a congenital liar. He says nothing that he means, especially something that means well. Nothing that Jammeh says to me means anything. The only truth, the only thing that Jammeh has always said and stuck by it was killing people and torturing people and abusing people. That's it. So I don't trust him. So I don't take anything that he says seriously, because I don't believe that he is such a serious guy.
If you have one thing to tell to the Gambia Armed Force or the Gambian security in general, what will it be?
What I've always told them, listen, since the Jammeh days, we are all Gambians. You have a job, and the job is to defend the territorial integrity of the country. At the end of the day, we've seen, especially seeing what is happening now at the TRRC, where you look at junior officers who were used by, whether it was Sana Sabali, whether it was Edward Sinyate, whether it was Yaya Jammeh, to torture citizens, to kill citizens, and now you are left alone. All you do is come there, cry, and try to ask for forgiveness. My advice to the security forces is, listen, at the end of the day, we are all Gambians. There is no need for you to use deadly force against anybody. If somebody does something wrong, try to apprehend the guy, arrest the guy, and then let the law take its course. That's it. Because at the end of the day, if you do it and you are so overzealous and thinking that you are doing it in the interest of the state, what's going to happen? You will be tried and charged with a crime, tried and be branded a criminal. Look at what happened to those people in Faraba who were arrested at Faraba. Look at everybody else who done this thing in the service of some giant orders from the top. The top would continue enjoying their lives while you wallow in jail. So I don't think there is any need for this. But I also will hope that our government would help these security forces by ensuring that there are proper reforms where they would be given the training that they need, so that they would have to avert these problems, unnecessary problems of shooting somebody and then arresting the person and then scapegoating everybody else. I don't think it helps anybody, Omar.
Thank you so much, Coach Passamajau, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Omar Bonhatab. Thank you, bro.
Well, that's Coach Passamajau. Another person, I'll get Bankamane if he also want to join the program. He's challenging my argument when I told Coach they always criticize the security personnel, but they don't give other advice or other side. So I will try to talk to Bankamane. Hello, Banka. Hello? Hello? Well, I am trying to reach out to Bankamane. They're in the US. He also want to join the program. And hello? I'm not sure if Banka is available. Well, we'll give one more try and see if he's... Hello? Unfortunately, Banka... Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello, Omar.
Yes, Banka, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me put up my earpiece here.
No problem.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we are waiting.
I am almost there.
Okay. I'm sure you have been following the discussion I had with Coach Passamajau.
Right.
Yes. You said...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hear you. That's right. Go ahead.
Okay. You said you refuse that categorization that you only, like Obama will tell Donald Trump, you only instill fear. You don't provide solutions.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you mean you have not only been condemning the security personnel, but you have been advising the other side as well, not only in Kanilai, but any part of this country.
Right. So, I mean, no, but the solutions have always been there. And that's what the categorization that I was alluding to. And that is that from day one, every one of us, and I'm sure including your humble self, we've been yelling about security reform, security reform, security reform. And Coach rightly said it when he said, well, this is not necessarily a Barrow problem per se, because Barrow, I mean, it's not like Barrow created this problem, but he inherited a problem. That's what is happening. And when you inherit a problem, Yahya Jammeh, the day he ceased to be the Gambian president, every problem in the Gambia ceased to be his problem on that day. And whoever assumes power, that problem becomes your problem. At some point, we can give you time to resolve it, to fix it, to do something about it. But when it takes so much time and we don't see any action in those regards, then obviously if the problem gets worse, then we have nobody to blame but yourself. And this is where Barrow is being blamed for the issues. But I mean, let's get it right. At the end of the day, security reform is the only way to go to make sure that we mitigate some of these problems that continue to occur. These shootings are not going away. They keep happening over and over and over again. And it always happens that the security forces, whether they are giving orders or not, or how the orders were given, or who said what to whom, somehow always use lethal force during the course of an event that doesn't necessarily warrant using a lethal force. So somebody is got to be responsible for that. We cannot sit here and say, well, I mean, let's just put it on the rug, or let's just blame it on people and not the system in power. And this is why I said we are offering solutions that are just not being heeded. If Barrow starts the security reform, then we would have said, hey, he's doing something about it. But we are yelling about security reform. Somebody needs to start listening to us so we can get beyond this, what is becoming a nagging problem.
let's talk about the main issue. Jammeh said he will solve the problem. Do you think he has the power, whatever you call it, to solve this problem in Kanilai, or you think he's not the right person for this job?
No, look, and this is where I disagree with Coach. I think, and your humble self, Omar, I think you guys are missing the point. Jammeh said that he is going to solve this problem. You have to listen to what Yaya did not say, not what he said.
Okay.
But essentially, Yaya is doing exactly what he was urging his guys not to do. If you listen to the tape, you can hear him tell them not to take matters into their own hands, follow the law, and da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
Come on, let's get it right.
Sure.
But Yaya is doing he was instigating these people to take matters into their own hands. In fact, that's what he was telling them in so many words.
So it's the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Because look, he has to change the context. This problem has never been a tribal issue. It has never been a Fonyi versus everybody else issue. But he somehow managed to discuss it within that framework. And then he said to them, but you guys, don't worry, don't do anything. Don't break the law, don't break the law. I will take care of it. I will do this. In other words, he's saying, look, if you want to take the matters into their own hands, I think you guys should go ahead and do just that. This is a coded sort of language that he was speaking, and we need to see it for what it is. This is a serious national security threat. Yaya is on the terms of his asylum in Equatorial Guinea will not allow him to openly come out there and advocate for the kind of violence that he was alluding to indirectly. So he has to do it in a smart way and then say to his guys, look, this is a tribal problem. They are going after us Jolas. And oh, by the way, us people from Kanilai, we're the ones they are going after here. And oh, by the way, us the people from Fonyi, we are the ones they are going after here. And then he puts all those contexts on the table for these guys to really get angry about. And then he said to them, but guess what? Don't break the law. I will take care of this. I will deal with it. In so many ways, he is telling them, look, guys, however you want to see this, it is what it is. You guys, they are going after us because we are Jolas. They are going after us because we are from Fonyi. They are going after us because we are from Kanilai. So, and this is exactly what he was trying to do. So I think that we need to take these words very, very seriously. These actions by Jammeh very, very seriously, because he's instigating. He's telling these people to get involved in violent acts that are meant to do nothing but to test the security of the nation. And indirectly, he's telling them, well, don't do anything. I will take care of it. It's nonsense. Listen to what he's not saying, not what he's saying. It's his smart way of kind of he's already contextualized this problem. And the context itself demands what? Well, you are being oppressed. Wink, wink. What do you do about that? And oh, by the way, don't do anything. Don't break the law. Don't you know what? Don't break the law. Don't break the law. I will take care of it. This is nonsense. Yaya is instigating.
So who do you think in this country can intercede and solve this problem between the security personnel and the people?
I'm sorry?
I say, who do you think in this country can intercede to solve the problem in Fonyi, since you said Jammeh cannot solve this problem?
Well, look, Barrow, again, the Barrow government is dropping the ball. You see, this Fonyi issue, Kanilai issue, let's be honest here. Let's just put everything on the table. You see, as a nation, if we want to move forward, we have to be straight about these issues. We have to be straight up, put them on the table, and say this is the problem. The people of that area, Kanilai area, and even and many Jolas, let's be honest, in the Fonyi, really, Jammeh is their guy. He's done a lot. He brought a lot of things to Fonyi. He has been good, a good son of theirs as far as bringing development and doing things in Fonyi, and that they didn't have before. So at the end of the day, what we need to do is Barrow needs to make sure that he takes concrete actions to convince those people that Yaya was never acting in their interest. Because look, Yaya killed more people in Fonyi than anybody could ever imagine. This guy was murderous. He was killing these people. He mistreated them. He tortured them. All he brought there are the roads and all these things that anybody could have easily brought there, because those were EU projects anyway. But then he's confusing the whole situation, making it look like somehow he's their freedom fighter, that they are being oppressed, that they are this, they are that. Fonyikas are not getting any worse than any part of the Gambia. Everybody in the Gambia, every part of the Gambia, we are all from poor backgrounds, we are all from poor places. We all share a common identity in so many ways. So at the end of the day, there is no victim and oppressor here. So, but Yaya has been trying very hard to present that narrative. And some have already bought into it. And this is where Barrow government needs to come in. Barrow somehow needs to make sure whatever fake fears that these people in these areas have about us as a people and as a country, he allays those fears by making sure that he reaches out to them and have a national dialogue about who we are as a country. You see, when a certain segment of the country feels a certain way, whether it's valid or not, whether it's credible or not, it's totally irrelevant. But the responsibility on all of us as one country, as one people, as citizens of the same country, as brothers and sisters, is to sit and have an honest conversation about these things. If Omar, I consider you a brother. If you are starting to behave a certain way with suspicion and concerns about me or whatever, I think it would be a good idea for me to sit down and say, Omar, I don't know where you're going with this. So what's up? Am I doing something that's making you become concerned? And let's have a dialogue, a conversation about it. If whatever you express, it might be valid, it might not be valid, but at least we'll have a conversation about it so I can allay your fears or your concerns so you can feel to be part of the whatever we are supposed to be, which is one entity. Unfortunately, these actions are not being taken, and the hours of this world are trying to exploit these suspicions and divisions that he created in the first place. You have to understand, he is the one who created these things. In the Gambia, everybody feels like a victim in one way or another, and we just need to realize we are all one people, we are all one country, we are all brothers and sisters. There is no Jola versus Mandinka here, no Mandinka versus Wolof or Wolof versus Fula. We are one people and one country under God. And this is where we need to, but to be able to cement that whole notion and to really treat each other as brothers and sisters in one country, we need to really sit down and have a conversation, an honest conversation about these issues. Because however, when people feel a certain way, like I said, whether it's valid or not, whether it's just nonsense or not, at the end of the day, our responsibility as a people is to sit down and allay those concerns, allay those fears, and so we can embrace each other as one people, as brothers and sisters, and move on as a country. Unless we do that, we will be a polarized country. We'll continue to have these suspicions that will be exploited by an idiot like Yaya. Fears that just are not real, but I mean, perception is reality sometimes, Omar.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that's Banka Mane there. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you today. From me and my team, we thank you so much. Till tomorrow. Bye for now.